Welcome back everyone to my channel. I hope you missed me. I haven't made a video in a while. I had a few tops in between, but didn't feel like doing any. Some of them were interesting, some less or some more. But yeah, I don't know. Didn't feel like doing a video, but yesterday was the regional with the new prizes with the level 6s as participant and finalist and champion stamps, which made more people participate in the regionals, which was really fun. We have broke the number of over 200 players first time in a while, which was really cool. I was happy with that. Prizes are really good again. Like, participating is already a good idea, even if you don't think you can make it to top 32 for finalists. You still get good stuff for participating. I decided to play Alphamon yesterday and went 6-1, bubbled into 11th place, with 3rd place having the same points as me. Kinda unlucky on that side, but yeah, whatever. You know, I'm still happy that I went X1 with Alphamon. It's like my pet deck. I really like playing it, and I also think it's pretty good right now in the meta, but I will explain more about it later. Someone prepared some questions for me, which I will answer at the end. But first we should get into the deck profile without talking too much here. We got 4 times the Doraemon that draws 1 card if you gain a source. Still better than the one that is when attacking, except maybe when you play Ultimate Cup for some reason with Alphamon, and because you expect a lot of Mirage and you don't want to draw by effect on Evolve and rather would draw on attack, because you can de-Digivolve or kill the Mirage before drawing any cards by effect that way. But in normal format you always play this deck, in my opinion. And of course you play 4 Doraemon BT7. Should be clear, like completely undebatable. Then we have 4 Ryudamon. Well, the decoy effect basically never comes up, except if sometimes if you play against stuff like Gallant or Bielsa can come up, but in my Bielsa match it did not come up because I did not have the time to hard play this and then evo over it to have the decoy. And then we have 2 of this Dormon from BT13. It gives 1k all turns inherit, so it's good to have effects that can matter when you slot stuff, because this deck slots a lot now. With the new Dorgray, with its evolve, and especially with its end of turn, you want cards that do something when you do that, and not just slot for the sake of slotting. And he's 3k, that's kinda cute. Matters sometimes if like a rookie goes into security and you have him in security instead of the 1ks. You can die from that, but like that's not the reason to play it. It's just it does something as inherit instead of the BT9 Dormon, which is only draw and play, which I will also get into later more, because I think one of the questions was about BT9 Dormon and why I don't play it, because the person saw my deck list already, which were all revealed in the regional. Like the TO posted all of the lists. And we have 4 of this Dorugamon. Definitely need a better one. No questions asked. It's like undebatably the better one because of the 4 play cost. The inherit is the same anyways, and the blocker doesn't matter, to be honest. Like, I've never blocked with that in current meta, because you just get removed if you have a level 4 out. But this 4 play cost matters a lot, not for the sake of, oh, I brick so I play a level 4, which also, like, one of my games I won that way, but it's not the reason why it's better, like why it matters, the 4 cost. But if you get into a big value stack where end of turn you can slot a card and gain like 2 to 3 memory, or you go Oryuken and gain a lot of memory to then hard play this. You can always evo the Decks Dorugamons over it to trigger all of your cool boys again and give your big stack blocker, so that you can stop the opponent again, because the name of the game with this deck became like stopping the opponent from aggression instead of just going OTKs, by doing Congo, Alphamon, BT13, huge blockers, undeletable blockers with Oryuken if it matters for the matchup, like Beatsamon and stuff like that, and re-acquiring blocker on your stack matters a lot, which can be done in different ways, but this does it the best, because also when you play this and then go into this and have like 2 cool boys up, you paid basically 1 memory to gain blocker retaliation on one of your stacks and have a second stack out, which is pretty insane. I also played 3 of this Doruga. I was on 2 before, but I cut 1 Yuji to have 3 in the tournament, because in a long round tournament I don't want to lose rounds because I don't see a Dorugamon early on, and honestly was the best decision ever, because most games I started rookie, best case Dorumon into Dorugamon, which is your best start in the deck. So yeah, I wanted 7 of it, but it's not only the consistency sake, also at the same time you have another 1k DP inherit, which can matter for being a huge blocker or being just out of the range for Shine Greymon to delete you after the DP reduction wore off, because most of the time you will go into Dorogrey turn 2 if you can in that matchup, and just leave it there so you can build up another raising stack while they have to deal with the one in the front. And if they come out to play like their Rice Greymons into playing Marcus and stuff, then you can go into the Alphamon to Digivolve it, or the Oryumon to kill that Rice Greymon and stuff like that. So you have like something on board that tells them you can't come out now, if they know how the deck works, and if they still do it, they just lose their entire stack and tempo. And whenever Shine has to come out and loses the stack, it loses basically 1 turn most of the time, because they have to rebuild on the back first and then promote next time again, because the BT12 Marcus is start of main if you have Agumon or Greymon, and if you don't have an Agumon or Greymon, he does nothing. So yeah, they lose a lot of tempo if they lose their stack. And just having more of this, so that the turn after you got the DP protection, when it wears off, you want more DP inherits. So it can be like 14k where they do 13k, which was the scenario in my last round, where they couldn't remove it because I had 14 and not 13 because I slotted another Dorugamon in. But yeah, also just seeing it early is just very important. But it doesn't hurt to see more, that's the point. We have 4 of the BT13 Dorogreymon. Honestly, might be the best card in the deck, but debatable I guess. His on Digivolve is really good because he doesn't only slot a card from your hand like the one before, which his inherit does at the end, but he also gets you deeper into the deck and finds your, let's say, Oryumon. If you're not having it yet, you can still go into this, whereas before with the limited Dorogrey, you already had to have the Oryumon in hand to slot it from there, or anything important you wanted to slot, like a second one of it. But with this one you can just go for it and get deeper into your deck, and then evo over it and still attach a card from your hand end of turn, since you wanna most of the time pass with your Alphamon actually if you evolve. But there is times where you don't, of course, obviously. but you want to pass so that next turn you can re-trigger your Dori and Dorumons under it by, let's say you're at 1, you play 2 cost like Super Gun Punch or Kongo, and then you use his end of turn effect to trigger his and his inherits, or you could end of turn place another Dorumon under it to make the stack gain value at the time by gaining another memory, because if you slot it you gain the memory immediately. But not only that, also that if your Alphamon sticks for another turn, which is not that hard to do, to be honest, you have even more memory next turn by passing to 2 next time, but then triggering 2 of the Dorumons in the line. And yeah, he has a lot of complicated plays like that. You can also like Super Gun Punch the opponent to 1, then end of turn Doruge, give him another Orumon after you swung already to get another restand. And since it's Super Gun, you get reboot, so that you can always just swing with the big stack and don't mind that it could die at security at like 15k or something, because it's, if you use Super Gun Punch you're at 16 of course. And that way you can get extra swings in without having a Yuji by just using Dorogramma with Dorumon inherits, and that's a very important play to know. And not only that one, but like abusing this card is key to winning with this deck. We of course play one of the security +1 Dorogrammon. Basically never evolve this, except against like deletion based decks where his deletion protection is important. But he's only there to like be slotted with the Dorogrammon or with Alphamon from trash. If this, like, let's say you have this in trash because opponent checked it and you evo into this and then into Alphamon with pass, you add this from trash and then Dorogrammon adds Orumon from your hand. And then you have a double check 2 swings next turn, which could be 3 swings if you Super Gun Punch the stack and get to 16. We have 2 of the deck's Dorogrammon, important sometimes to re-trigger the cool boys, especially if your Dorogrammon passed, that's a good play. And removing smaller stuff with this comes up for sure. Just have to be kind of smart about how you use it. And I mean, worst case, it's still an X antibody that you can discard or at least have a target when Dorogrammon only flips him as a Digimon. Definitely better than Greatmon, in my opinion, because the Cool Boy trigger and also having the removal. But yeah, Greatmon is not so great because you like always want to evolve into the Dorograys anyways, and having Greatmon as the level 5 sucks anyways. So yeah, it's better to evolve than Dex Dorogrammon, but at the same time it's still not good, so you rather still keep searching for the Dorogrammons, which isn't that much of a problem since the deck has so much search in it. Then we have 2 of this Alphamon and 2 of this Alphamon, the BT9 and BT13. 2-2 split because de-Digivolve and being cheap comes up quite often, because this bridges into Oryuken better, and this is better on its own. And this stops like shit like Royal Knights OTKing you or Alphamon even swinging at you at all. And if they try to delete it with Kurata, at least if they only have 1, you can use his protection. Very good against Seccon. Like, technically he's the better one, but this one comes up a lot and the deck draws so much and searches so much that you can basically pick the one you need. And if you don't, he's still very fine. Only problem he has, to be honest, is being 11k, and that's why you play more DP inherits, so that he can get to 13 and then you can Super Gun Punch him. We have 3 Orumon. Evolve this surprisingly often, to be honest, in the tournament. To remove Rise Grace, to have deletion protection each turn, because you can always make it a value machine by having Dorumon, Dorimon and Dorogrammon under it. and then the memory passing that I said, gain turn back and stuff like that. And every time you do that, he gains 2000 and can't be deleted by your opponent's effects until end of opponent's turn, which is great. Then you can punch him up with Super Round Punch, Swing Security, and then next turn reboot, and you have like a 17k at least blocker. Usually it's like around 19. Nothing gets bigger than that, to be honest. And at that much of DP, even Shine Greymon usually won't remove it. And of course you want this to have your V-stance. Then we have 2 Oryuken. Some people say you need 3. I thought I agreed in the past, and I mean for BT9 you definitely wanted 3. But now that we have this Alphamon, which is really good on its own already, we don't need this always. People still focus too much on getting into this, and of course it's a great card. You evo it for 3, delete your opponent's highest play costs, all of them, and then gain like 7 memory back. And it's huge, of course, from DP wise, but it's not that important in the meta, to be honest, and you still see it. I still like evo does a lot, of course, but it's not as important as it was in the past, and the deck draws even more than in the past with the new Doro Greymons. And with Super Round Punch and this guy, you have like a budget Oryuken basically, which doesn't break you as much as Oryuken does, because if you play 3 of this, you're gonna have hands where you have to discard him anyways because you don't have any other piece, which feels awkward. And yeah, I definitely think 2 is enough, and I had no problem seeing him. Also, something that you can do with this Alphamon, then another reason for playing 2 of him. Opponent had like a Rise Greymon and a Shine with Rise Greymon under it, and I went into this, Digivolve the Shine, then Oryuken kill both of the level 5s. Of course this is one case, but other opportunities have been there, which I also used. That's just a prime example. But in general, Digivolve is great, and this is not on Digivolve. Digivolve, it is when it gets a source once per turn, so whenever he sticks, you can do the end of turn shenanigans with the BT13 Doro Greymon, and just Digivolve one of your opponents, Digimon again, which is great. Then we have 2 Super Round Punch and 2 Kongo. Super Round Punch I explained a lot already. Huge card for the deck, definitely mandatory at 2, because the Doro Greymon is limited and we don't have many ways into security +1, except another one I'm not playing and gonna address later because of the questions. But yeah, being big, having reboot, like gaining 3k, having reboot, blocker already matters, and then security +1 on top enables many OTKs or 2 turn kills, where you just check 5 security in 1 turn, have a huge blocker out that can't be deleted once per, can't leave the battle area once per turn, and well, then next turn you just swing twice again, and even if the opponent has 1 blocker, you just still pass it. Also, by the way, another reason why you don't need to Oryuken is that Oryuken can be easily removed while he just sticks. Like, most decks can't touch him at all. We have 4 Cool Boy. Few different rarities here. Don't worry, I got 4 more of the golden one in the mail coming. But I only have 1 store championship, so I only have 1 of them. Undebatable in my opinion. Some people play 3 for some reason, I don't get it, to be honest. Don't have to say much about it, right? Like, it picks up every Digimon in the deck, and it's like playing trainings that we get in BT14 without having trainings in the game. And it's just nuts, to be honest. Like, every time you trigger these, you get a dopamine shot. We have 1 Kota and 1 Yuji. As I said, I cut one Yuji for another Dorugamon because Dorugamon does Yuji's job already. It's just another kind of extender. If you go into like Oryuken, go back to 3 and you play him and give him another Oryumon. Or the security +1 on swing and stuff like that, but most of the time he doesn't matter and you don't want to play him out, to be honest. Most of the time, because he's so slow, you know. He gains you 1 memory and 1 draw in 2 turns after you pay 3 for him. Like, he's very slow. And then we only have 3 black memory boosts, which I just upgraded to the new alt arts, which look really cool. 4 isn't necessary because it's not always great to play. You mostly rather play Cowboy. But if you need to dig a bit deeper and don't have Cowboy trigger anyways next turn, except if you find the piece, then this can be good. And I mean, it's basically a security bomb because whenever you hit this, the deck just pops off next turn. And well, it's consistency. Just don't need 4 because you just aren't gonna play them out that much. It's more of a, oh yeah, I did everything this turn already, and I'm still at 0 after I played with like 20 memory in this deck. And then you slam this for having enough memory next turn to like hard drop the Dorugamon and go into Dex Doruga, trigger all the cool boys again and just go into a new Alphamon. That's it about the list. We went 6-1. The matchups will be here. Yeah, if I don't forget to implement them. Was a very cool tournament, had a lot of fun. And now I would go over to the questions after I collect all of the deck. And if you have any personal questions, you can definitely ask them in the comments, of course. I will try to answer them. See you in a bit. Alright guys, I'm back. Let's get to the questions of this person. Very politely asked me in Discord in a private message if they could ask me some things about my list and my run. And I said, of course, no problem. And I will include them in the video, I said. So let's do that. So first question was, what made you choose Alphamon over other more competitive or high tier decks for such a big tournament? To be honest, it was more of a, I want to play this deck for fun kind of thing. But once I played it more, because this was like my main deck in BT9, once I played it more in BT13, I noticed like it has barely any bad matchups. Like Royal Knight feels like the worst matchup, and that's even like, I don't know, maybe 70-30 for Royal Knight, which is still doable. But you also shit pretty hard on Shine, which is a very prominent matchup, of course, as everybody should know. And oh, let me move the mic a bit closer. I don't know if I was loud enough. I hope so. And well, I could say that a deck with a lot of solid matchups without having like very good ones and very bad ones, a deck with solid matchups throughout the expected decks fits a player with skill more than one that is just based on matchups, because you can be as good as you want, but if you hit like a very bad matchup with decks, you probably still lose. Like, you can get through it, but you probably still lose, you know? And having a deck that has barely any bad matchups, but barely any good matchups either, makes it more skill dependent, and I kinda like that, gotta say. Like, I really enjoyed playing this for the regional. To the next question, what do you think about Alphamon's deck in this format? Oh yeah, I talked about that already. Just explained it, I think, at least. Then let's get to the deck questions. How do you feel the 2 Alphamon Oryuken? Oh, I explained that already, my bad. I play with 3 and sometimes I can't even find one for the stack or get 2 trashed from BT13 Dual Greymons when digivolving, and the other is either insecure at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, funny enough, the BT13 Dual Greymon milling me 2 of the Oryuken happened in the Beelze matchup that I lost. But it's very rare that that happens, like the probability is not really there. And well, the more you play, obviously the more you will mill them. Like if you play 3, it's more likely that you will mill 2 of them than when you play 2. Obviously, I think. I think that's obvious enough. But yeah, that's not really an argument for the point. But yeah, the rest of it I explained, like why I only play 2, because the deck can play on just Alphamon now and doesn't need to go Oryuken. It's just a nice thing to have, and you want to usually even preserve it for the removal instead of just going into it for the memory, because you also get more susceptible to removal at that point. But I explained all of these already. Rookie ratios. What about BT9 Doro for search? What do you think of 2 or 4 Tsunarisamon? So BT9 Doremon I played in BT9, of course, and I also tried it at the beginning of BT13 when I was just testing Alphamon for fun. And the issue is you actually don't want to play out search rookies, and well, we already have 4 in it. There is a debate about playing 2-2 of Doremon BT9 and Ryudamon, to be honest. But I rather felt like I would search 3 cards than draw 2 cards, because drawing the deck already does a lot, but when I need to search with a rookie, I rather go deeper than having more advantage from it. Because when I have to play it out, it means I really need a card, and then it's more favorable to go deeper than having more cards in hand. About Tsunarisamon, I really don't like it. I tried it at 2, I tried it at 4. Not being an X antibody is horrible for the card. You can't discard it for the entire discard effects. You can't slot it with the Dual Greymon, which can totally suck if you don't have a good target to slot, because then you have to actually slot the pieces you will need later on, like in the next turn, because you still want to slot. And well, also Alphamon can't slot it. Dual Greymon can even miss at that point if you play so many non-targets for the reveal 3 and then tuck 1 card. If you miss that against Shine, you can just concede, because you don't get the DP immunity and you just moved out your level 5 passing. Like, that's horrible. Having the rookie in hand as not your first one is also bad, because like I said, you can't discard it. And having no rookie and then playing Cool Boy to search one and then revealing 2, like one of the 2 to 4 Tsunarisamon you're playing, is gonna feel horrible. Like, you're just gonna lose the game because of that, and it's not worth the impact it can have. And the impact it can have is so high rolly that you have to see it in the first hand and evolve it immediately, instead of even BT7 Doremon, which sometimes even feels better to evolve. Because of the whole turn passing with Dual Greymon inherit shenanigans, where you have 1 or 2 memory more each turn while sticking your huge body. And yeah, like, the card has too many downsides for what it can do, and what it can do doesn't happen that often actually, that it's worth playing. And if you play 4, the issues with it get more prominent, because you will run into it more often, that you have to discard something but only have Tsunarisamon, or that Dual Greymon misses because of it. or that you don't have anything in trash for the BT13 Alphamon or BT9 Alphamon even. Like, too many problems, and or you can't put it back into the deck, you can't search it, and the more you play of it, the more prominent those problems will become, and the less you play of it, the less likely it becomes that you get its only upside, because you need to see it immediately. After that it just becomes bad. And yeah, I think that explains all of it already. If there's a question left about it, you can leave it in the comments. Next question is, isn't 7 Darugamon a little too much? I think I explained that already enough. Just go back to the deck list at the point where I explained the level force. Why you choose to bring a 2-2 BT9 BT13 level 6 alpha split? Yeah, already explained that too, I would say. It's just that you see the one you need anyways most of the time, and if you don't, it's not that much of a problem. And let's say you play against Seccon where you need the BT13 one, you can just keep searching. Like, they give you enough time to do it anyways. So that's not either a problem either. And yeah, the utility is the main factor. BT9 Alpha Streamer. Okay, next question is, would you consider an X amount of BT6 Alpha? Absolutely no. Horrible card. For many reasons, like, it's much worse than the other two. And, well, the security effect isn't real, to be honest. Like, playing a card just to be in security is a bad choice. Why only one Coda and one UG? Well, Coda you barely ever play out. It's more of a thing like the memory boost sometimes, where you either play it when you're in a dire situation and have to dig very deep, where it's not great to have in hand, and having multiples of it would really suck. And or you play it when you already did everything for your turn and don't, like, you have already evoed in the back into the Rugamon, and like, you don't want to go into Dorogramon in the back usually, so you leave it there. You already did everything with your stack. It did swings, you did Super One Punch, you did Congo if necessary, and you're still at 0. Then you play out a Kota or a UG, and yeah, like, you don't need to see them at all, and that's why it's only a one-off. Like, the deck draws so much that you can use them if you get them, and Coda is sometimes nice to search, but UG is so slow at, like, it doesn't really search for you. You don't want to promote if you don't have your, I don't know, Dorogramon, except if you're in a very terrible situation, and you shouldn't build for those situations. And the slotting is already done by the Dorogramon, as I already mentioned a lot of times, I think. What about adding a tech card like Greatmon or X program against whiteboards like Bloom Lordmon? Well, Greatmon is somewhat interesting for that, but you don't really need it, to be honest. Because Bloomlord has a hard time removing us now with the BT13 Alphamon. If you make it just big, they can't Hydra it, and they can't bottom deck it with Hydra, and Bloomlord getting over it. If they get to the point where Bloomlord get over it, you probably lost already, because their board is already huge. And, well, Greatmon is a responding card in that context, so that, well, when you need to remove a lot of their board that you can't attack, like, you can just attack it normally with Alphamon with multiple swings. If they have a board where you have to remove stuff that you can't attack, then I don't know, you're already in a bad spot, to be honest, and just playing it for that doesn't make much sense. And as I said already with the level 5s when I explained them, evolving Greatmon is not a good idea. Like, it's again a very dire situation in which you're missing Alphamon, where it's better to evolve than Dorogramon, but then you have a bad stack for the entire game. If he doesn't like high roll you to heaven with like searching you the Alphamon and putting the BT13 Dorogramon under him, where at that point, yeah, he's pretty good, but he would still suck against Shine because you don't have the DP protection. But outside of that, in that high roll situation, he would be great, yes. Pun intended, I guess. But yeah, it's not important. You can play one, to be honest, if you expect a lot of Bloom Lord, but everything else that runs small stuff, you just counter with having a huge blocker plus Congo, and then just outvaluing them and killing them with the big stack. And yeah, X program is just too expensive for the stack. You don't want to play anything that costs much. Then yeah, we're done with the question. He's just saying thanks again, and I hope you have a nice day. So that's it about the questions. Video is already way too long, I would say. I'm seeing I'm like recording for 37 minutes. Maybe it's like 30 minutes at the end. But I hope you enjoyed the deck profile, and see you guys next time.